at this time, this is before the YouTube video movement.
Right.
This is right before. So we were all probably watching the same like 5 or 6 videos. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So after that, like studying those videos heavily and then trying to basically mimic those same exact things.
Of course.
In front of my school, pretty much. So I'm sorry if I copied.
Yeah. I mean, I was stealing all of Omarion's choreography.
You're right. Yes, the touch video.
I was stealing
Yes, the touch video.
Slight variations, but I was stealing everything.
Dude, you know what's funny? I actually remember like I had this videotape of which like I would record. You remember how you could like record over tapes, VHS tapes? I would record like, I think I recorded like 5 videos.
Yeah.
One of them was, I think the touch video.
Yep.
Another one was Just a Friend by Mario. I don't know if you remember that music video.
Of course.
Another one was, My Way by Usher. Have you ever seen that music video recently?
Of course.
That shit goes
I haven't
hard,
seen
dude.
it recently.
You should
But
rewatch
that's a
it.
classic.
Dude. Yes, dude, that went hard. And then, there were 2 others. But anyways, I like would rewatch those things, like trying to learn those moves because it's just like it was so cool to me.
Yeah.
You know. Anyways, so yeah, continued the little club that was there. So we would perform at pep rallies, and that was like really, really low level foundations for choreography.
Gotcha.
At the time. So then I'm in college now, and I have this like, I think I want to dance like in college, but I have no knowledge of like where to go, where to find it. And I'm at Cal Poly Pomona. This is my first year. And I not knowing who GRV was, I tried out for GRV.
Oh yeah, you made a mistake.
I show up like no experience of class taking. Like I had never taken like a real class. It was always like me, my high school friends, and just like right next to the car playing music. That's how I would learn choreography. No experience in a studio.
Who was teaching? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. It was David Lim and Bam.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine like no experience?
Good
just
luck.
Jumping into David Lim and Bam.
Did you do a knee drop out the sky? They used to love the.
They did. I actually didn't. I remember that specific piece, but I just remember being like mind blown at the level that it was at.
Right.
And I was like, wow, I am terrible. So I learned it. I tried out, didn't get in, and then I tried out for this other team called Barcata Modern, which is an older team.
I remember.
From Cal Poly Pomona. They don't exist anymore.
Yes.
But at the time, and I remember getting so frustrated that I didn't get, because this goes back to the whole not performing to the level that, you know, because I was pretty decent at sports.
Gotcha.
So you like the feeling of like winning and you really try to do well.
Yes.
And so, especially if it's something you're passionate about.
Right.
I didn't make it, so that like really stuck with me. So I practiced really hard for this other team, Barcata Modern, at the time. I auditioned. I fortunately got on, and that was like my first entrance into the like competitive like SoCal community like dance. So these are all the competitions like Vibe, at the time, Body Rock, Ultimate Brawl, like these sorts of competitions.
Right.
So that's where I entered the dance space, I feel.
Yes.
So after that, like I spent so much time dancing that I didn't really focus on my studies at all. And I didn't do terrible in college, but I had like a 2.9, 3 point something, you know, not terrible.
Yeah.
But like at the time I was like dancing, and then my parents were kind of asking me like, okay, so what are you going to do after dance? And I was like, I have no idea. So that at that point, I kind of made it a tough decision. Like, do I still dance, or like, do I choose something that might sustain me in the future? And this is back when we didn't know that dancers could make it like that.
Right.
You know?
Not at all.
Right.
Right.
Like, unless you are, because I didn't know how auditions worked. I didn't know. My only knowledge of it all was like, you can teach classes and that's it. You know, like I didn't really know how it all worked. So after that, I pursued I made the decision. I was like, okay, I'm going to be a physical therapist. That's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
At the time, I was majoring in kinesiology.
Yes.
So this is kind of where the training roots start to get implemented here.
I see.
So I started taking classes for kinesiology, and I ended up finishing my bachelor's degree in kines. kinesiology, and I minored in physiology.
Got you.
And then, but in order to become a physical therapist, you need to get your doctorate degree at another school.
Okay.
So you graduate, just like you go from high school to your undergrad.
Yeah.
You got to do that shit again and go from undergrad to, right.
That's a lot of school.
Exactly. It's a lot of school, it's a lot of debt.
Yeah.
And so I was applying to schools and my GPA wasn't competitive enough.
Got it.
But I did all the prerequisite work to get my volunteering hours. Like I volunteered at like hospitals, clinics. I worked as a physical therapy aide in like multiple places. And it still wasn't competitive enough because, it's partially my fault. I only applied to 2 schools, USC. My dumbass thinking like my 2.9, like that should be good. So I applied to USC and this other school, Western, which is a very difficult school to get into at the time as well. So I apply, I don't get in. I'm like partially not surprised. And so at this point, after Barcata Modern, I also started this other exhibition dance team called Hall of Fame, which is like, it's like an exhibition team. We would just perform like showcasing, not really in a competitive scene.
Okay.
So that's kind of where my dancing kind of continued as I was a physical therapy aide.
Yes.
Physical therapy aide. I graduated, still doing Hall of Fame. So I'm still involved in the dance world, still not competing, but, doing showcases, still performing.
Does any of that physical therapy training go into Hall of Fame at all? Or that?
No, at the time, no.
Got it.
I was like this, like,
you're like, I didn't, different worlds.
Yeah, different worlds, like different worlds. In retrospect, that should have, but no. Yeah.
It's all good. We're here now.
We're here now. So yeah, this is maybe 2011, 12, 13.
Okay.
Like, so I started Hall of Fame with another friend of mine named Neil. Shout out Neil. And I graduate college, and that's when I'm at this like crossroads of like, okay, I didn't get into PT school, so now like I don't really know what I'm gonna do, but I'm still dancing. Yeah. And I'm in this like lost like area.
Gotcha.
Which everybody goes through, by the way. So do not feel.
Absolutely. And and you'll probably go through it multiple times.
In life. Yeah, dude.
Like, okay, what next?
Right.
Where am I going?
Yeah, right. Just roll with it.
Yep.
Just roll with it. You'll be fine. So now we're at like 2013, 14, 15. So I didn't get into PT school, and then I basically studied, and I decide that, okay, well, if I can't be a physical therapist, next best thing is probably to be like a trainer.
Yep.
And so that's when I start studying for my first certification, which is called a Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist.
Okay.
Certified by this thing called the NSCA, which is National Strength and Conditioning Association.
Okay.
Basically, this is the certification that like at the time is required to be like a college football strength coach or like high level, like D1, D2, like basketball strength coach. So this is the type of cert that they had at the time. And so in my head, I'm like, okay, well, I should try this out. I should probably go this route because I still want to be like something. Yeah. But it's not like physical therapy, but it's the only thing I got right now.
Right, right.
So I went after that.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm just going to interject really quick. As you're speaking, I'm just like realizing and thinking about how you kind of created a new lane for people.
Bruh, yeah. In retrospect, I'm like, at the time, I was like lost as hell.
Yeah.
Can I cuss on this, by the way?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like lost as fuck. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
And there was a good, like, honestly, like 2 to 3 years where I was really like lost.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was really just like, well.
Which that's 2 to 3 years. That's a good amount that's a lot of time.
It is. It's
when
a lot of time.
When you're in it.
And when you're younger,
those moments,
you know?
Yeah. When you're in those moments, it feels like you're going to be there forever.
Exactly.
It just feels like this is my life.
I wasn't making money.
Right.
Like, I was like, well, my parents are kind of mad at me. You know, I'm kind of mad at me.
Right.
You know, like, and I just, like, what I had originally envisioned for my life to be at that point was clearly not. And it was very, like, I lost hope for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember at the time, like, I had to study for that test.
Yeah.
And so, and I was probably a little like sad with my life. And I think I was a little conceited with, I got my degree. I don't need to study. Like, I'm fine. So I go in, I take the test. Yeah. I come back, I find out that I didn't pass. Oh. And this was my only ticket out, I felt at the time. So then I remember calling my girlfriend at the time, wife now, Cassie, and I was like tears, like, and I was like, I don't, like, this was my last, you know what I'm saying? This is my last hope. Like, and then she, like, best woman in the world. Like, she just like was there for me. She's like, it's okay. You know, like, we'll figure it out, you know? And, so I do some research and I do some digging, and luckily you can retake the test, but I think there was like a 3-month like period in which you had to wait.
Right.
I take that time. I'm studying like every day. I'm like, okay, not this time.
Right.
You know, I retake the test. I take every day to study. I pass. And right after that, I send in my application to a few gyms.
Yep.
And one of those gyms is Equinox. And they loved the fact that I had my bachelor's degree, physical therapy experience, and now I have this certification. So, and Equinox was amazing in terms of how I learned about training, because they do a great job, actually. As much as they are like a corporate, you know, type jump the ladder, you know, numbers kind of thing, they actually do a great job of teaching you how to train.
Right. Okay.
Like how to train, how to build your own business.
Yeah.
Because you're basically operating your own independent business under the umbrella of Equinox.
Got it.
So you're in charge of your own clients. You're in charge of creating their programs. You're in charge of the rapport, the relationships, how to sell.
Yes.
And so,
which is a major skill.
Everybody
should learn.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Learn how to sell.
Learn how to sell. It doesn't have to be deceitful.
No.
It does not have to be like used car salesman. Like, it does not have to be that.
Right.
And I think I made the realization early on that selling really, depending on what you're selling, of course, is really about like just helping the individual that is in front of you.
Yep.
And I think I'm lucky that I fell into a business/sales path that was health, like, and wellness, and, you know, strength training, and because this is like some long-term health shit. It's not I'm not trying to sell you some pill or like some, you know, Prozac OTC on, you know, like, I'm selling you the ability to train, become better, like become stronger for yourself.
Feel better.
Exactly. So while I was at Equinox, that's where I learned a lot about how to build a business, how to train people, how to maintain relationships with people, and how to talk to people of importance. Because at Equinox, the main demographic is like higher income.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of like snooty, you know, people who think they're better than you. And that's kind of the dance industry too sometimes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, that's real.
You know, like, no shade on the dance industry like
no,
that.
Of course not. But it's
in
real.
any industry.
That's
you know,
real.
I feel.
Real. I mean, we're in LA. Like, this is
that
the
too.
industry. It's just,
you know what I'm saying?
It's a lot of egos and all
There
kind of stuff.
There is. So it did a good job of teaching me how to deal with, I think, those, you know, types of people. And not everyone was like that, by the way. I had fantastic, amazing clients and people that I met. It's just a few, you know.
Of course.
But anywho, so after that, I started finding success in training. And I loved it. I loved everything about training, because it had to do with movement still. So I still felt connected to elements of dance, you know?
Right.
And there are elements of creativity in training, like coming up with a creative way to solve that person's problems using the research and certifications and things that you've learned to fix that person's issue or that problem.
You know what's crazy is I've been finding a lot of fulfillment from like the programming.
Oh, bro.
The programming of
100%.
my training, my company. Like finding the perfect formula to get the results that I want and get them as fast as I can get them.
Yes.
You know?
It's it's like a puzzle. It
really is.
It's different for every group, every person.
Yeah.
For every style, every need. So yeah, it's very fulfilling in that regard. That same thing. And so once like I kind of started finding success in Equinox, and I was there for a few years.
Yeah.
I kind of started, this is kind of when I started to feel the conflict of being in corporate structure, because I think anyone who has had a corporate job that they're unhappy with, I can't speak for everybody, but it's common that you have an experience that makes you feel just a number, or not so much like you're treated like a human.
Right.
And so I was having those experiences more and more, and I was kind of realizing that I could probably do this on my own, you know?
Yeah.
And at the time, luckily too, I had started working with old friends who stuck with dance and ended up doing bigger things in dance. Not like insane things, not like, you know, the next Beyonce or whatever.
Right.
But people who ended up doing successful things in dance, and they reached out to me and they were like, hey, like, you're the only trainer, coach I know. I can't last through 15 minutes of my set, or it's hard to hold like an ISO hold for, I'm on stage, I got to hold this position for like 2 minutes straight until the next track, and my legs aren't giving, or my balance is getting worse as I'm, you know?
Yes.
So I was like, I don't know if this is going to work, but based off, it works for them in that sport.
Yeah.
So
why not?
Why not? And so as this is all going on, I'm starting to like write programs for them and like, you know, really try to just help in that regard. And as that's going on, I'm like exiting my Equinox phase. And so my clientele at Equinox starts to dwindle, and then I'm finding success there, and I'm finding other independent clients that are outside that are involved in some sort of like choreography or like entertainment industry. And so it kind of like slowly teetered. And I just remember one day I like, because I would always like track my finances.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I remember one day I looked at it and I was doing like twice the amount of work at Equinox.
Yeah.
But I was doing like half the amount of work outside of Equinox, but making like 3 times as much as I was.
Oh, wow.
Because you're able to pocket all of the,
exactly,
from a business perspective. It's like,
you're not paying out at
exactly.
Equinox, yeah.
So I just remember being like, this doesn't make sense. And so that's when I kind of like made the decision, okay, maybe I should just go full-time outside.
Yeah.
And once I did that, the people that I was working with in the past were like, yo, this shit's, it's like, it's working. Like, this is like cool. Like, I'm gonna keep doing it. Cool. Awesome. And then a couple other, like, they spread the word to their friends who I started working with. And then I'm sitting there, I'm like, why is nobody doing this shit? Like, why are dancers not training? I mean, they're training, but like not doing things in a strength train, like a gym setting, to make you better at that.
And all the other athletes are doing it. So,
and all the other athletes are doing it. And I'm like, yeah, like LeBron has a trainer, Serena Williams has a trainer, you know, Mbappe, a soccer player, has a trainer.
Yep.
Like, for like even sports that are arguably less athletic than dance.
Right.
I'm super biased. I think dance is one of the most athletically required activities.
I'm right there with
you. In terms of rotate. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and these people have trainers.
Yeah.
So why do dancers not have that?
Right.
And so I came to this realization this is maybe like 2018, 19, 20 now. And so this is when the pandemic hit. So I started Movement Society like around 2019 with a couple other business partners at the time.
Yeah.
And we were just doing like group fitness classes.
Gotcha.
like around at different gyms.
Got it.
So we would travel to different gyms and do group fitness classes, not focused on anything performing arts or creative wellness at the time.
I see.
And so from that point, like it was all kind of happening at the same time. Like I was like, dancers need this. And then we were finding that the group fitness thing was working. Oh, and then the pandemic happened. So the pandemic happens. We can't do group fitness classes anymore. And then I'm like, okay, well, how do we make money? You know? And then I'm realizing that there's a need for dancers to train. And at the time, I come up with this program called Dancers Are Athletes. It was an online program at the time where I used this online platform to write people programs. And then every Sunday, I would bring a choreographer or person that I have worked with to come and not teach a dance class, but just speak on their experience. Like, I auditioned for this. This is what I would do if I were you, or this is the creative process behind executing a piece or whatever.
Right.
So, and the training was meant to help you get better at dance.
Right.
It was like an 8-week long program. I think I charged like $200 for it at the time.
Yeah. Nice.
And it blew up. It was like, and I didn't even have that many followers on Instagram at the time. I think I maybe had like 3,000, like 4,000.
Wow.
And it blew up. And and I remember waking up one day to getting like, I expected maybe like 10 people to sign up.
Yeah.
I got like 80, 90, 100 people sign up. It's like, oh, like, how do I sign up? I'm like, dang, like, is this needed? And I was like, yes.
You're like, this is it.
This is it. Yeah.
Wow.
And not only from like a business perspective, but also from a, like, I never thought in my mind that I would be able to figure out a way to combine like passions of mine, like in a way that also like serves the community, but also like give back to dance.
Yes.
Because on some deep shit too, like I think I just wanted to give back to dance, because dance has given me so much in my life. You know what I mean? I'm sure you could say the same. You know? Best experiences of my life, like friendships that
my God.
Like even when we can't dance anymore, like I'll be still hanging out with these people. My wife, I met my wife, you know, and
man,
it gave me so much.
Yeah.
So I feel in this deep sense to give back to it.
Yeah.
And so going back to when this moment happened, once I put out that program, I got such a wildly positive response that's when I was like, damn, man, I think this is the move. Like, I think I should do this. Like really try to pursue this. And so, yeah, from that point on, we were still in the pandemic. And then that's when myself and my business partners at the time started looking for facilities. Yeah. Because I think it's really sad to say, but businesses had to close through the pandemic.
So things were open.
So things were opening. And so fortunately, like, I didn't lose all of my earnings. I was able to still save some. Nice. You know, fortunately. And from that point, we start looking for spaces that are at a severely discounted rate. Right. Because they just need a tenant. Right. You know, they had just lost maybe 3 or 4 businesses. And so that's when we had entered the space. We go into the space and that's when kind of the vision starts coming together. And man, we signed the lease, we build it out.
So the Dancers Are Athletes program, you did that, what year was that?
This was 2020.
2020, you did the Dancers Are Athletes program.
Correct. 2020.
So between then and then, how long did it take before you had your own space, your own facility?
2020. I think we signed the lease in 2021.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a year later, you're like all in.
Yeah.
We're getting our
was
own
that
space.
stupid? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
That is, I didn't really realize. I just felt like this was like a 10-year vision that you've always had or something like that.
You know, in retrospect, I don't really think sometimes, you know.
That's kind of like a superpower though, to just go. Just go for it.
I gotta say though, like when I feel something deeply, and if I really believe in it, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you can relate to that as well. Like,
absolutely. Well, for me, I've learned that I have to. I have to force myself to just jump in. For sure. Or I'm gonna overthink it and I'm gonna stall.
Exactly.
And 5 years later, I'm like, why didn't I do it?
Exactly. I think my thing is like, I would hate to wake up like 5 years later and being like, I should have fucking. Yeah. I should have done that.
And then you see it. Could you imagine?
Dude, yes.
Could you imagine?
Yes, yeah. Some others, I'll be like,
somebody else do it?
Yeah.
That's my idea.
Yeah, exactly. So I would much rather, like, I would much rather throw it all in and just crash and burn. Right. But at least I'll be like, well, I tried it. Yeah. Well, I tried, you know? Absolutely. On to the next.
Absolutely.
I cannot live with that sort of like regret. You know?
Me neither. I cannot.
But yeah, man, so Movement opened, and now I'm fortunate to work with some amazing dancers, music artists, you know, people in the entertainment industry and clients of all kinds. And incredible. Yeah, Movement Society is now a center for, you know, creatives, performing artists of all kinds, anyone who uses that sort of third eye to create something for their craft or occupation. And we try to provide the wellness in terms of health, strength, conditioning, physical therapy, chiropractic care. And wow. Yeah, man.
Incredible.
Thank you, man.
Incredible,
thanks.
Incredible. It's like even just having the willingness to go after an idea, a vision, like actually acting on it. I love that and I respect that so much. And I can hear those kinds of stories all day, man. Every day.
Thanks.
You know, and I know just how much sacrifice and facing fears and just also like from a logistics standpoint, how much goes into all of that. So yes, much respect.
I'm very tired. Yeah. But worth it.
Absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it. So what would you say is Movement Society's mission?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would, you know, it's funny, like when we started in 2019, the original vision was just to be at the forefront of putting information out there for people who wants to perform at an elite level.
Yes.
It wasn't really about dancers or creatives or anything like that, really. It was really, we took our knowledge from certs, degrees, working at these gyms, and we tried to package it in a way that if you want to perform at your highest level, these are the things you should do. Yeah. And we went to different gyms, like trying to provide group fitness classes and things to teach the public about that. Yeah. So that's how it started. Yeah. Pandemic happens. Yeah. All of that kind of goes to the wayside because now we're trying to get creative on how to survive. Right. Dancers or athletes happens. Massive light bulb moment. Yeah. And then we're like, man, maybe we should really focus on this. Yeah. So we create the space.
Yeah. Niche down.
Niche down. But you know, it's funny, as we're going through that and as we have the space open, we start finding out that it's not really just dancers that like, you know, can really benefit from this type of training. It's like people who are involved in such unique like occupations and ways that they use your body. Like we've worked with high level karate athletes, like MMA fighters, figure skaters, Cirque du Soleil performers, dancers, music artists, people who use so and even people who are like adjacent to that. Yeah. So people who are in production, even like photographers, videographers, graphic designers. Yeah. Like people who are involved in the same world. Yes. Can really benefit from this type of training and thought process for your wellness.
And maybe even community.
100. And that's another thing too. Is like there's a community around that. Right. That maybe, I mean, sure, you could go to like other places, but it's the fact that you can like go in there and probably see somebody who just gets it. Yeah. You know,
it's who other speaks creatives, the language.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
We get each other. We're in the same world.
Exactly.
I might have a different art form or whatnot,
Yeah.
but we still get each other.
Exactly.
It makes a lot of sense. It makes perfect sense.
Thank
to
you,
me.
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very, very freaking
Thanks.
cool.
Yeah,
Very
thanks.
cool. Okay, so I want to talk about actually developing and training dancers.
Yes.
And I'm a big believer in how much you take care of your body. The better you feel, the better you move, the better you dance, the better you perform, right? So I want to talk about some skill enhancement things and how strengthening and conditioning can amplify a dancer and make a dancer a better dancer, a better performer. Because I think previously when I got here, getting in the gym was all about just working on your look. It was not about performing better
Same, dude.
at all. It was about looking great on
big
stage.
Chest,
Be big,
big arms.
That's it. Can you pick up the artist?
Yeah. I'm just gonna bet you. Yeah, I got you.
But over the years, I've definitely learned how much it can make a difference, and just even in my own personal training that I was doing, how much it made a difference within how I execute.
Yeah.
Right. So I have a few different things, common issues and challenges that dancers have, and I want to talk about how strengthening and conditioning can improve those things. First, one of the major things, especially if you want to go on tour, or really if you want to get on any stage, is stamina. Is a big thing. So how should a dancer be training to improve their stamina?
That's a great question. And I'm going to use this answer a lot. So please don't be mad at me.
You're good.
But the answer is it always depends.
Got it.
But I will not leave it at that.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that for this particular case is that it depends on if it is a dancer specifically or someone who is on stage with an artist or someone who battles. It depends on their level of output and where they see that the most consistently. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, in any like battle, generally speaking, their sets usually last anywhere from like 45 seconds to like a minute and 15 seconds.
Got it.
So that is the level of, or excuse me, that's the amount of time that person is going to be putting out that sort of effort versus you're on stage for like 20, 30 minutes, like at some level of output.
Yeah.
So specifically with stamina, the conditioning has to match those two things. And what I always try to say is this: if you're training, you want to get the training as close to the type of output that they're performing as possible.
Yep.
For stamina and for anything really, but for this particular example, like small example, I was training Sean Liu for Red Bull Dancer Style.
Yes.
And we took a deep, hard look at the structure of the brackets and how the whole thing works. So there's 16 individuals, and they get 2 1-minute rounds each. Random song of choice. You know how the structure works.
Yeah.
So
no, walk us through it.
Okay.
Walk the audience through it.
Okay, got it. So 16 individuals, and each round, the dancers get 2 rounds each of a minute long.
Yes.
If now, based off of their performance on those 2 songs, of those random songs of choice, the audience votes for who they think should move forward.
Yes.
If it is a tie, then there is a 3rd round.
Yes.
So let's say you tie at the 16, at the 8, at the 4, and at the final. That's
12.
4 times. That's 12 minutes, right? So if you tie, and sometimes it gets like that.
Yeah.
So anyways, to match the conditioning to that, what we did was I used this technique called nasal breathing, which is basically that you breathe through your nose because it helps constrict and provide a smaller amount of oxygen to the body as you are performing said activity.
Yes.
After that, I just selected a random song, and then I had him dance for a minute freestyle. So not only are you just dancing, but you're coming off of the wave of that minute long nasal breathing, either assault bike, rowing machine, ski or whatever the equipment was. And so I did that 12 times. So now, and we did that for maybe 3 weeks, 3-4 weeks. At 2 times a week, I would see him.
Nice.
So the exposure to the stress alone not only is he used to it, but he's now used to a higher level
right.
of what he is used to being involved in.
Right.
So, and I literally saw this at some of the competitions throughout the stages. I would see these dancers like gas out at the stage of 4 at the semifinals. I'm like, no, man, like, I mean, like, yes, man, because I want Sean to win.
Right.
But like, but I was like, oh God, hang in there,
Yeah.
And you know this too, as a dancer, when you start getting tired, your moves in your head, you're hitting these angles like this, but like on camera, they look like they're just like
noodles.
They're noodles, yeah, because cognitively speaking, the oxygen exchange isn't efficient as it once was. So you're getting like foggy, you're like your legs are giving out. And now on top of that, not only are the moves not clean, you can't focus on the performative qualities, the exposing the emotions, the actual performance.
Right.
So all to say, going back to the conditioning, you should really try to mimic your scenario as best as possible.
Yeah. If not a little bit beyond.
Yeah.
To make it easier.
Sure. Yes.
Right? Okay. So say I'm going on tour, or I want to go on tour with Chris Brown, and I know this is probably the most athletic dancer. I mean, most athletic artist
For sure.
that
He's
there
talented.
is. Super talented.
I got to give him that. He's very talented.
Very talented.
Very talented.
His show is full out. I just saw it like a couple weeks ago. It's insane. Those are some athletes.
I've seen the clips.
Those are some athletes.
Yeah.
So, okay, and this is a 2-hour show. They're not dancing every single song,
Right.
But 2 hours, you have these like quick spurts of maybe you're dancing 2-3 minutes. So how would a dancer prepare for that?
So from a conditioning perspective, I would first try to make sure you have what's called a very simple aerobic base, meaning low intensity types of cardio where it's not super difficult. Think like a light jog or like a chill bike ride for an extended period of time of like 10, 15, 20 minutes, or a light run in that same sequence.
Okay.
If that is the scenario, that's step one, making sure you can do that with no problem really, which most dancers can do, most, but then you take into consideration the specific pieces where it's really intense and then really slow, and then really intense and then really slow. So I would probably, it goes back to that thought process of how can I, now that I first have that initial base, and if you don't have it, then work on that first.
Right.
And then the level 2 step would be what I kind of just explained of mimicking the output levels of your piece or style or set to mimic that as close as possible.
Got it.
So I guess if I'm giving like a specific thing, like I'm on a rowing machine and let's say your piece is like, the number is like 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
And you notice that the first 30 seconds is chill. Then for 15 seconds is intense. And then 30 seconds is chill. 15 seconds intense. And then 10 seconds is like fucking insane. Maybe mimic the quality of which you're doing it to mimic that as best as possible.
Got it.
That's a really detailed look, but that's probably what I would do.
That makes perfect sense.
You know what I'm saying?
And you just would have to do that for a round. Say he does 20 songs.
Exactly.
Songs.
Exactly.
You're gonna need
now
to
you do it
do
for
that
rounds
many
and reps.
rounds.
It's just like training. It's just like training. And the beauty of that too, of training like that, is that you're not gonna fuck up your shit by like doing the choreography over and over and over, especially if there's like a stunt involved.
Yeah.
The beauty of that is that you can just be on a machine.
Right.
By outputting that level of cardio, lung capacity work, etc. I always say this too. The only way, like dancing is not the only way to get better at dancing.
Yes.
You know?
Hey.
There are
say that again. Yeah.
Dancing is not the only way to get better at dancing. Like these are things that you can do to save your joints, really. But still getting the lung capacity works specific to conditioning.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is actually happening when you're building stamina? Like, I guess from your lungs, I want to talk about lung capacity because I don't know if people really realize that. I think sometimes people feel like my lung capacity is what it is. Like, this is what I got.
It's not. Sorry, what was the question? Like what?
What is actually happening?
Oh, what's actually happening when? So in a nutshell, you are introducing your body to levels of stress that it's probably not used to. And if you strategically place things in a level where you can handle it, you're going to push yourself to a threshold that feels like pretty jarring for a little bit. But it's the repeated exposure to that will slowly expand your lungs' ability to exchange gas and also do that more efficiently so that you can feel more comfortable with those types of exposure. It's like lifting weights.
Right.
Or what's a really simple, have you seen the movie Holes?
Of course, yes.
Okay. I don't know if everyone has seen the movie Holes. Actually, that's like an older movie now. Isn't that fucking crazy?
Yeah, we old.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Okay. So the story is like, there's a boy and he has a calf, like a baby cow. He has to go up the mountain and then let the calf drink water from the river. And then he takes it all the way back down for years. Next day, maybe it gained like 0.1 pound. Takes it up the thing, 0.4 pounds. So over the years, and all of a sudden he's a man, but now is now carrying the full cat or whatever, the cattle. So basically, your body will adapt to the types of loads and stresses that you put it under, so long as it is a slow, strategic, progressed situation. So going back to the thing about developing your lungs, it's kind of that, like slow increases over time.
Are your lungs actually able to stretch further, or are they just functioning better, or what is actually happening with your lungs when your stamina increases?
You know, I actually don't know if your lungs, I actually don't know the answer to that first one, but I think yes to the second one. You can definitely become more efficient.
Yeah.
Because I always say this, your body is your friend in the sense that it is always trying to adapt and make you better to the situations that you provide it in.
Exactly, yeah.
So like, for example, if you're in dance class, like you take a Laubeni's class, like 4 months in a row. You're not going to tell me that you're not going to become a better dancer because you're putting yourself in those environments.
Right.
So kind of the same thing in the sense that if I'm an office desk worker, and I'm always in this position.
Yeah.
So going back to that concept of your body is your friend, it's like, oh, Karl's not really opening up his chest, so I'm going to curl his shoulders in because he's always putting me in those positions.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, if I'm always putting myself in positions that are pushing that threshold a little bit, then okay, well, let me feed that area and help Karl get better at that thing.
Yeah. Your body's
Did that make sense?
Yeah, your body and mind are always kind of trying to find the easiest way
for sure
to do
for
something.
Sure. So it's your responsibility to introduce it to the area that it needs the work in.
Yes.
You know?
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if I want to dance bigger, be more expansive, take up more space, be more athletic, be able to get up, get down?
Sure.
How do I need to be training?
I think that to dance bigger, I would probably focus on your mobility in certain areas, because if you don't have the access to these certain joints, you're not going to be able to access them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think first is focusing on the mobility of the joints that you want to access.
Yes.
Whether that be kicks, whether that be like, if you have like big, like, you know, Broadway style, like jazz funk commercial type choreography, focus on those areas where you feel, and most dancers know it. They're like, I feel like my right leg is just not, most people know it.
Yeah.
Most dancers know it. So focus on the mobility of those specific joints first.
Yes.
Once you create the space, then you can train your joints to live in that space by asking it to create tension or provide load to build the strength to now hold it in that position.
Yes.
So what was your question?
So it was just about like how to like
how to dance bigger.
How to dance bigger. How can a dancer learn to, or how should they be training to dance bigger?
Sure.
And I like even the thing that you said of like dancers know it, but it's one of those things like you have to choose to address it, because people try to
100%
fake their way through something.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or I have learned there's things that in my life I thought my body is just made this way.
Mm-hmm.
My body just doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized like actually once I started stretching more.
Yeah, sure.
Once I started working out in certain ways.
Yeah.
I gained access to things.
Sure.
Or things opened up that I thought my body just couldn't do. I just thought, I just was not made with, I don't have that gift.
Yeah, right.
That's what people think it is. They think it's
so.
a gift.
Right. Which it isn't always. It isn't always.
Yeah.
We can train, like I said, our body is our friend in that it is always trying to adjust to the areas that we consistently put it in.
Yeah.
So going back to that, the topic of how do I dance bigger, I would probably break it down into 3 steps. Number 1, mobility work in that specific joint to get more access. Mm-hmm. It's probably a matter of access.
Yeah. How does one improve their mobility?
That's a loaded question. But with each joint, there are a string of there are a ton of different mobility drills that you could do. But there are drills that are specific for each joint.
Got it. Okay, let's say I want more mobility in my back.
Sure.
A lot of dancers, I have this issue right now. Their backs are very stiff and straight. Mm-hmm. How do I open up my back to have more access and be more fluid in my core?
So, do you want specific exercises or conceptually?
Yeah, maybe. Let's give a specific exercise, or
sure.
Maybe a couple of them.
Yeah. So a very simple one is called a cat-cow.
Yeah. Where
you're on hands and knees, and you literally making, I don't know why it's called a cow, but you're making the shape of a cat.
Right.
And then I don't know why it's called cow.
But I guess cows kind of are like that.
I guess.
Your stomachs kind of hang down.
I get that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
The teats.
Yeah.
That thing.
Yeah. Those.
So you're curling and coming back on your spine, coming up and then coming down. Mm-hmm. So I think at a very basic level, you need to introduce your joints to areas that need that love and access.
Yeah.
So I'm noticing that it all comes back to really introducing it to the areas where you want it to go.
Yeah. And
then trusting that your body will make the necessary adjustments to be there for you.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you have that thought process, there really are no limitations with exercises and drills. Mm-hmm. So, but for the sake of that particular question, cat-cows is a great one. Number 1. There's something called the greatest stretch, which is something that I do all the time, which is, I can't really show you, but you have both hands down, right leg is up, and then the left leg is back, and you're basically reaching up to the sky.
Got it.
And then you reach down.
Got it.
You reach up to the sky, and then you reach down. That's a second one. And then a third one, if you learn how to plank correctly and just learn how to truly engage your core, then that's kind of a win in itself. Mm-hmm. So those are 3 very simple things you could do. And it's not crazy.
No,
it's not crazy.
It's just about doing it and being consistent.
Exactly. It's about doing it and being consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I would say.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Got you. So I guess conceptually overall, it's just about putting your body in those positions as often as possible.
Yeah. So how to dance bigger is kind of the,
yes.
So mobility drills in the specific joints that you want to feel bigger in.
Yeah.
And then 2 is once you gain access, then apply some sort of load or strength training at that range So you can learn how to manipulate and hold it, more importantly.
So it's strong. And
so it's strong. Exactly. And not like, because it's one thing to be able to get there, but it's another thing to be able to hold it and control it and manipulate it in that area.
Yeah.
And then third thing is I would record yourself doing whatever piece it is. There's a lot of power in watching yourself back because I was like, so I was at Fair Play in Poland last week.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm embarrassed to say this. I took rehearsals class.
Yeah.
That bitch is crazy. Oh my God. and I like she did, and there's no mirrors there, by the way, because it's a big ass fire piece.
Yeah.
Amazing piece. Amazing person, choreographer. Love her. And she like did it, and in my head, I didn't look at myself the whole time. And I was doing it, I was like, got it. And then I record myself, and I'm like,
what is that?
You know what I'm saying? So
that's real.
It'd
be like
I'm
that.
like, what the fuck is that?
It'd be like that.
I'm like, that's not what it looked like, So recording yourself.
Yeah, camera don't lie.
Yeah, camera don't lie, dude. So one, creating mobility in the joint access. Number two, training your joint at that access so you learn how to manipulate, control, and hold it there.
How much weight is needed?
You know what's crazy? Not that much. Not that much.
That's what I found too. It'd be like a 5-pound weight.
Yeah.
There.
Sometimes creating tension by yourself is enough to at least start the process.
Yeah.
Now, once you get strong enough at like holding yourself there and creating tension by yourself for like 2-3 weeks at a time, then add an external thing.
Got it. Got it. That's good. That's perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
That's perfect. And I really feel like, because the next two that I had were like power and then control, but I feel like control is kind of the same thing.
Similar.
Yeah, very similar to improving your dancing bigger and mobility.
Yes,
is a lot about.
Conceptually, it's all the same, really.
Yeah,
it's just different streets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then from a scheduling standpoint, because I know dancers are busy. A lot of them, are young. They're in school. Maybe they're in school, working and training.
Busy lives.
Yes, very busy lives. So how can a dancer work workouts into their schedule? And also, how much is enough? How much, do I need to be working out twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week?
Yeah.
And then how long is enough? Do I need to be in there 3 hours in order to see results?
These are good questions. I'll start off with, what was the first part? The schedule of it?
Yeah, how to fit it into schedule.
That's really hard.
It's a tricky one. Everybody's schedule is different.
Everybody's schedule is different. I think it's, number one, just doing it is a win. Now, if that means you literally only have time to do it once a week, that's still better than nothing.
Yeah.
In my eyes.
Yeah.
Now, but on the flip side, I've had people and clients who are like, I want to train every day. And that's actually not the most ideal way to train for potential overuse injury. But also there's a concept which is important to understand, where rest is equally as important as a part of the equation as the training itself.
Yes.
Because your body's response to the training is actually a high level of recovery and rebuilding.
Yeah.
Because of the previous stress that you just put it in.
Yeah.
So you went through a heavy day of training, and then you want to take like a day or two of resting that particular muscle group.
Yes.
Like if you have a dance rehearsal that, different.
Yeah.
But it takes time to recover and rebuild so that the next time you do a heavy training day, it can be properly prepared and ready. So to go back to the question of how many times a week, I find it to be very successful for a lot of dancers to do, I believe, a minimum of 2 times a week.
Okay.
Strength training.
Okay.
A minimum. Maximum, if you can fit it in without feeling like you're going to die because of dance rehearsals and everything, maybe 4.
Yeah.
But the thing is, everybody that I work with, dance is, it's in the week. It's in the week somewhere. So it almost doesn't make sense
Yeah.
to do 5, 6, 7 days of training because like there's no point.
Yeah.
You're gonna dance and then go into
Right.
go into training and then back to dance. Like
Right.
there is no opportunity for your body to rebuild the necessary parts for you to succeed at the thing you want to get better at.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like in my eyes, I think 2 to 3, 4, 2 to 4
2 to 4. Yeah.
it is an ideal.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna, depending upon how you structure it as well,
Yeah.
you're not getting any less
Yeah.
by doing 2 times a week. It just depends on how you structure those days.
Got it.
Now, to the question of how long it
Yeah.
should be, honestly, I think you can get a very successful, great training development day within 45 minutes to an hour.
Nice.
Like, I don't think it needs to be that crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to be that crazy. And I also think there's a common misconception with training that I need to be sore in order for it to be effective. And that's not true.
Really?
Yeah, that's not true. So like, don't get me wrong, it feels good.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
I did that
Right.
shit.
I need that
Yeah,
signal
yeah,
of like,
you
I
know,
did
it's,
something.
And that's not always the case though.
Right.
As long as there is a good amount of stimulation to the tissue of the amount of work that you put in, regardless if you get sore or not,
Yeah.
you should never, in my eyes, if you get sore,
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But again, common misconception is that I didn't get a good workout in unless I'm sore.
Yeah.
And that's just not true.
Got it.
So-
Got it.
Yeah.
And then should they be pushing like heavyweight, low reps, or like low weight, a lot of reps? What is best for dance?
So this is one of those it depends
Got it.
types of answers as well. It depends on the quality that you're trying to improve.
Okay.
So if I go into the weeds on that, like think of like there are some main categories here. Like you ever play like 2K and then you try to create your own player type thing, and then you got your amount of things and it's like, oh, speed, strength, you know, conditioning, vertical, you know. So you can kind of think of that as like training. Okay, which thing do I want to get better at? And each of those things has an ideal sets and reps and rest period sequencing for each of those things.
I see.
So I guess to give you like somewhat of a brief overview, if you're trying to get just strong as fuck, like as strong as I can, you know, heavier loads, rep schemes of anywhere from 3 to 8,
Yep.
I will say, and sets of like 4 or 5 sets.
Okay.
Large rest periods within that.
Got it. Like 3 minutes.
Like, yeah, like think like 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes, 2-3 minutes.
Okay.
Now on the flip side, if I'm just trying to improve my muscular endurance or my stamina,
Yeah.
it's kind of the opposite. So I want low weight, but high reps. Reps of like anywhere from 12, 15, 20 even, if the weight is that light.
Got it.
And lower sets. But also the rest time has to be much smaller.
Shorter. Yeah. Like a minute.
Yes, because you're testing your muscular endurance.
Yeah.
So those are like the two, that's like the north and south of that.
Yes.
And there's like other things like in between of like separate qualities that you can choose to improve.
Got it. I see. I see.
That's a whole topic in itself.
Yeah, and I
You
like
know?
the creative player thing because
Yeah.
kind of what we're doing.
That is what you're doing.
You're designing
creating
yourself.
your play. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay.
Like some people don't want a vertical. Some people just want straight power.
Right.
You know,
Or
like
just straight speed.
yeah,
Just
you know?
fast. That's
Yeah,
all I
exactly.
want.
Yeah, exactly. So
So what about dancers who have these objections of, I don't want to strength train because I don't want to get stiff. I don't want to lose my mobility.
I would be lying to you if I said that strength training won't contribute to a little bit of that. Now, is it going to be to a point to where it ruins everything and you're just not going to be able to dance well anymore? No. I think the benefits that someone can receive of implementing strength training into their regimen heavily outweigh that particular concern.
Yeah.
But also too, the beauty of that is that you're going to just feel it.
Yeah.
Like if you feel a little stiff, I feel kind of stiff today. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't touch the weights. And why don't I focus on my mobility day? Why don't I do some mobility dynamic stretches to try and loosen things up? You could feel it.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah,
You can
listen
feel
to
it.
your body.
Listen to your body, you know? So I'm obviously super biased, but yeah, all the benefits of the things that you can receive from a physiological perspective, like stability, your proprioception, just strength, your conditioning, even mobility. Sometimes strength training can contribute to somebody's mobility still.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so
I found like if I just go like lighter weight, more reps, my body doesn't get as stiff.
Yes.
Concrete. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, but you have to really take a look at what you're doing. You know, I think a common thing that we were once taught way back when is like bodybuilder.com, you know, Monday chest, Tuesday back, you know, Wednesday legs. And that's not a bad style of programming, but that's one style of programming.
Yeah.
That's kind of like if I want to get better at ballet, but the only thing I'm seeing is like crump. You know, it's like two separate.
Yeah.
There's like multiple styles.
Right.
So,
right. Just depends on what you're doing. And then what about dancers who are, or really anybody who's just intimidated by the gym? Because I know that's a big thing.
No, for sure. And that's a totally fair concern. I think, well, just like dancing in dance class, you got to go in there. You got to take class. You got to, you know, and if seeking out some sort of training and getting better at dance is truly what you want to do, then that is a fear that you have to kind of overcome. But I think too that if you are very concerned about that, like seek out a professional that knows what they're doing, how to teach, and learn the nuances of form, what you're supposed to look for, how to navigate the gym.
Yes.
Because I know that can be a thing too that's difficult.
Yeah.
So yeah, seek out a professional.
Movement Society.
Movementsociety.com. Yeah, shameless plug.
Some great people over there.
And yeah, man, like I can't understand how difficult that can be though. However, if that is the goal, to try and better yourself through dance, then it is a necessary step that you have to take.
Agreed. Definitely agreed. I'm big on that. Okay, let's get into like a little bit of nutrition and supplementation. What kind of diet should a dancer have for? I feel like we're in kind of more of a like endurance sports and art. So how should a dancer be eating?
Yes, that's a
tricky one.
That is a tricky one and a loaded question. I will preface that I am not a dietitian.
Got it.
By any means. I do have a couple of certifications for nutrition. However, this is kind of what I guide people on. And I think that nutrition is not necessarily as complex as sometimes we make it out to be. I don't get me wrong. There is a deep like chemical breakdown structure of each thing. And, you know, there is like that side of it. But also on the flip side, I think a big one is how are you feeling throughout your day? And I think a lot of dancers that I've seen and worked with generally tend to feel low energy a lot of the times.
Yep.
And probably because of the fact that, number one, their output levels are so high.
Yeah.
Dance class for like consistent movement for like 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
And that's just one class. Maybe they got rehearsal.
Yeah.
And then they got to be in school. And then they got work.
Yeah. And they probably only ate a bagel and drank some coffee.
If that. Just the coffee, maybe.
Right. Probably just
the coffee. And so that's problem number one is like, okay, well, how do I feel right now? I should probably be fueling myself a little more.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the thing about nutrition too is we all kind of know what to eat. Like,
yeah,
we all kind of know,
yeah,
should I have a sweet green bowl or should I have fried chicken? You know, like
I don't know, that fried chicken sounds
yeah, good. Fried chicken. But you know, like
Yeah.
in terms of how to fuel ourselves, I think everyone generally knows what's healthy
Yeah.
and what's not.
Yeah.
I think what I have found to be successful is like how to structure that using some sort of like 80-20 or 70-30 rule.
70-30 what? What's 70, what's 30?
Good question. So let's say, for example, you have how many meals a day do you normally eat?
Like 3.
3. Okay, so let's say like 3 times 7, because there's 7 days out of a week, comes out to 21. So that's how many meals you eat through the week. 70/80% of 21 is
math's gonna be hard. You could just do 20. How about we just do 20?
let's just do 20. Sure. Yeah, 15.
Okay, we'll say
15. That's 75%, I think.
Yeah.
15 meals out of the 20 meals of your week should be good, solid, consistent meals. So think a decent serving of protein, a good/decent serving of carbohydrates, because and this is dancers specifically.
Yeah.
Dancers because you need to fuel yourself
Yeah.
for the rehearsals, workouts, and extra physical activity. Now,
Yeah.
if I'm talking to somebody who's just trying to lose weight,
Yeah.
then this is a different conversation.
Got it.
But we're talking
Right,
dancers
just-
specifically.
Got it.
So,
And that's like a fist
yes, good question.
size?
Yes. So using portions specifically, what I like to use is your hands. So if I use my palm, think about it. If I cut off the fingers and thumb, that's like the size of your protein.
Got it.
Size of your protein.
Okay.
Now, fist for vegetables,
Okay.
like mushrooms. We know what vegetables are.
Yeah.
Cup for carbohydrates. So think
Okay.
like sweet potatoes, brown rice, quinoa, whatever you want to toss in there. And then thumb for fats.
Okay.
Thumb for fats.
Like avocado.
Yeah,
healthy
avocados, nuts, olive oils. You can even find them in like servings of fish, nuts, nut butters,
Yeah.
things like that. So going back to that, 15 of those 20 meals should look like that.
Got it.
Like 1 serving or 2 servings of each kind of thing, depending upon your own levels.
Got it.
Now, that means the remaining 5 meals can be whatever you want. And those cheat
Dang,
meals.
he giving y'all 5. He giving you 5 meals. I could eat pizza.
That's a lot. Yeah, you could do pizza. Now, use this rule as like a loose structure, you know? If you are just eating like trash all the time, and I'm having this conversation with somebody, that probably severely shifts their entire nutritional intake.
Right.
Now, if you're pretty good with it, now we can go a little more in the weeds. Okay,
Yes.
instead of 75%, maybe let's challenge you to do 90 and 10.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
80 and 20.
Yeah.
Right? So it ultimately depends on the person in front of me. But as a general rule, that's kind of what I'm doing. So
Got it.
you want to take the amount of meals you eat per day,
Yeah.
multiply that by 7 for your particular, let's 20,
Yeah.
right? 15 of those meals should be solid.
Yeah.
That palm for protein, cup for carbohydrates, fist for vegetables, thumb for fats.
Got it.
And then the remaining 5 can be whatever you want. And I use my calendar. So I got date night, with the lady, family dinner, friend's birthday, and then
Yeah, I could be free on
business.
those.
Yeah. And I actually encourage the people that I work with to go into those meals with no limits. Because you're less likely to just like, have you ever tried the cheat day? Have you ever tried that?
Yeah, I go crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
I
You
want
go
pizza,
crazy.
ice cream.
Yes.
I want everything
exactly
all day.
And then you just completely fuck it up. Whereas if it's more frequent and more accessible, it's not as, it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna eat this, but I got another one coming up in the next couple of days. So it's like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
You know? So-
and this is from a purely like performance or maintenance standpoint. This is not like I want to lose weight or I want to gain weight.
Correct. Yeah.
That's like different.
This is a very good general
Just lifestyle
type of approach. Yeah. If I'm talking to someone who's looking to lose weight or gain weight, now these are kind of different conversations.
Right.
But purely for the general, how can I adjust my diet for the better if I'm a dancer? These are
Got it.
some tools that I've used.
Base. Got it. Is it true? I always heard like before a performance, like the night before, you should eat like a bunch of spaghetti or a bunch of carbs before performance?
I think when it comes to those particular situations, I always kind of leave it up to the individual, because I can relate this back to training, where like the textbooks say that if you're going to have a heavy day of training, you want to have a full substantial meal anywhere from 90 minutes to 2 hours before. But if I wake up at 5 a.m. to go train at 6, I'm not going to wake up at 3:30 to prepare my shit for, to hit that.
Yeah.
I've worked with people who have eaten absolutely nothing and trained fantastically.
Yeah.
And then they save their meal for post.
Yeah.
I have also worked with people who have eaten a substantial meal, and they perform at the same level. And some people just react differently to food, just like we're allergic to different things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
you got to find what works best for your body.
You kind of have to find what works best for your body. And that's just different for everybody.
Right.
Now, I will say, if your performance is at like 7 at night, and you have not eaten anything, and you just had coffee, and you had, 4 hours of rehearsal just to like clean it up and fix the staging, and you're going on like an extra sip of Red Bull, then
I'm feeling the dehydration.
Yeah,
right
you know what I'm saying? This is a cheat code. I always tell everybody, like dancers, performing artists, whatever bag, everybody's carrying a bag into tote bag, whatever.
Yeah.
Always stock that thing with like 3 granola bars, a bag of pistachios or nuts. I literally have a bag of pistachios right there. So a couple granola bars, pistachios, and like, those kitty like applesauce things? Yeah. Like, stock it up with a few of those.
Okay.
On the off chance that you rushed or are feeling lightheaded.
Yeah.
Like I guarantee like 60-70% of the dancers that are probably in classes right now are probably feeling lightheaded because they did not supplement themselves in
Yes.
So that's a cheat code.
Yeah. Okay.
Stock up the bags with granola bars, nuts, a fruit, something to fill up the tank, or at least provide some sustenance when you're running low, because you probably are running low.
Most likely. If you are a dancer, you are running low.
Yeah, on some level.
What should I be? That's actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because say I have a 8-hour rehearsal preparing. These tour rehearsals are like really long.
Yeah.
What should be in the bag to sustain me and get me through that long 8-hour rehearsal? And do you believe in like the BCAAs, the electrolytes? Like, what's getting me through it?
You mean like, now are you talking like food, or are you talking like supplements now?
I would say both, like either snacks and then supplements.
Yeah, I mean, well, snacks, like those things really, like literally at the gym, like I keep this like stock drawer for trainers and clients just in case. I hit like straight up gummies, like
really?
Sometimes. Yeah, like gummy bears, gummy worms. I think there's like just like fruit chews.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
Those things, if you need like a quick spike of like blood sugar to kind of get you through the situation. This is like a break glass in case of emergency type shit.
Okay.
Now, sometimes I just snack on them. Right. But like, if you're in that situation, it is beneficial to have.
Yeah.
Now, I would probably go at least 1 or 2 of those.
Okay.
A granola bar of choice, some fruit, apple, banana, peach, whatever, and maybe an extra granola bar. Like, that's a solid little situation.
Yeah.
To keep. That's probably what I would do. Now, you can like toy around with the variety of stuff, stuff like that. Now, in terms of supplements, personally, the only thing that I take is creatine.
Yeah, me too. I had creatine coffee this morning.
Oh, there you go. There's like powder form. There's like gummies now, actually.
Yes.
For creatine. I take gummies now.
Okay.
And I've actually very recently been taking creatine. And I do feel like it is one of the supplements that show little to no negative results.
Right.
And that's the reason why I take it.
Yeah.
Is because I'm not
well
really
studied.
It's well studied. And that's another important thing. If you're going to take something, do your research on it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people be taking things like off the rip. Oh, I saw one thing on TikTok, and I'm like, make sure you really do your research on that thing, you know?
Right. She legit is like the new thing. That I keep seeing.
Yeah.
I don't really know what it is.
That's why I don't take it, because I don't know. You know, I don't know. So the only thing I'm taking right now is creatine. The reason is because I train a lot. I have a very active job.
Yeah.
And on the daily, I'm constantly challenged, like from a cognitive perspective, like problem solving, business meetings. You know, thinking of new programs, client interactions. So that is kind of one of the main reasons why I take creatine, because of all the potential benefits that research has showed to improve your own performance from
Absolutely.
that. So anyways, with like a with like a supplement situation, I actually don't think you need it. I would prefer that people find their supplementation through natural sources first.
Right.
So if you need more protein instead of the protein powder, maybe try to find it through an extra smaller piece of salmon, an extra smaller piece of chicken.
Yeah.
Now, if you just have so much trouble getting that in, then yeah, liquid proteins, totally fine.
Do what you need to do.
Yeah, do what you need to do. But that's kind of my take on it. It's not my go-to in terms of supplements, but you know, if you can't get it through, if you really can't get it through natural sources, then sure. So long as you do your research on that thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I think that's going to help a lot of people.
Cool.
And definitely sleep a lot.
Yes. Oh my gosh, sleep.
That's a major one.
Sleep, bro. Sleep is the one.
Yeah. I think when it comes to like really getting into fine tuning, like being kind of super specific and detailed, I think that only comes into play if it's a very high level, high stakes, like person, battler, whatever, right? For instance, the Olympics just happened, right?
Yep.
If you're doing something at that level, then okay, your diet needs to be super on point. You're going for a gold medal. There's no games can be played here. Right. So let's kind of talk about that, like dancing at the very highest level. We just had breaking in the Olympics. First, I want to ask you from your point of view, your opinion, is dance a sport?
I'm gonna say this. I think dance, technically speaking, is an art first.
Yeah,
I will say that.
Okay.
I think dance is an art first. However, in the recent light of all the events that have been happening and the structure of what dance has turned into, competitions, convention, battle, there's a point system in which how these people win, and it's based off judges and curriculum and all forms of technique and what they're judging on to make it a competitive activity. So based off that definition, then yes, it is.
Yeah.
I think dance is one of the few things that is both. In
it's
my
very
opinion,
fluid. It actually can be a lot of things. It can be an art. It can
That's
be
what I'm saying.
A sport. It could be therapy. Like all kinds of things.
And that particular example too, I would argue that like gymnastics also kind of walks that line a little bit from the floor. Like if you think about a floor routine, if you think about it, a floor routine is someone doing a solo and how they're judging it based off the curriculum of how they do their moves. Are their techniques fine? And I think one of the biggest arguments that is against dance is like, oh, it's subjective. The judges are basing it off of a subjective thing. However, like just like gymnastics, you have different judges who are basing it off of that curriculum that has been established for years.
Right.
And then I take something like breaking, which is kind of the same thing. Synchronized swimming is also kind of in that world as well.
Yes.
But the only thing with breaking is that it hasn't been an Olympic sport long enough to have created the infrastructure needed to succeed like that. But culturally speaking, it's all there.
Yes.
So going back to your question of is dance a sport, I think at its core, it is an art, but how the industry has changed and how We have competitions, conventions, how it's an Olympic sport. Now, I do think that it straddles the line of both.
Yeah.
Like, I think it is both.
Yeah. I like that. I think that's the best answer. It's
Yeah.
both.
Yeah, it's
You know,
both.
two things can be true at once. That's
what
one
I'm
of my
saying.
favorite things that people
Yep.
say these days. So how would you train a B-boy, B-girl compared to like a commercial dancer, somebody going on tour, working with artists, music videos? What would be the difference?
That's a good question. I think going back to like one of the first things we talked about was like fitting the training to their specific needs and matching the output levels as closely as you can to the things that they are experiencing.
Yep.
So going back to like a breaker, that nature of battle, that the length of time in the set versus someone who's on stage for 20 or 30 minutes, those output levels are going to be very different.
Yeah.
And so the exercise choice and the levels of intensity and the rest periods, all those things need to vary according to what needs to be tested and what needs to be improved.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's really about mimicking the environment that is going to be presented.
Yeah, because I mean, a B-boy or B-girl is spinning on their head. You
Yeah,
know, they're doing freezes.
Exactly.
So how do you prepare somebody for that? I mean, I guess it's just essentially just, it could be even like traditional strength training.
Exactly. It can be. That's where it starts. So in training, you have like your first couple phases where you just need to make sure they're prepared. Like, are they strong enough? Do they have somewhat of a lung capacity base and some mobility to be able to like test them at the level 2, the level 3? It's just like dancing. You want to make sure you have your foundation set before you can like really explore and like become good at that thing.
Right.
So it is that. So specifically training for someone who is involved in breaking, a lot of shoulder stability work, number one. Work that really tests their coordination and proprioception. Proprioception is a fancy way of just saying like body awareness, spatial awareness. They need wrist mobility. Breakers need wrist mobility. They're here
fingers,
all the time. So I've experienced a lot of people that I've worked with that have wrist problems. So introducing something simple like a kettlebell grip can really teach that joint how to dissipate the force in a strategic area so it doesn't fall in a negative space. Now, commercial dancing or, on tour with an artist, depending on the artist, you're probably not spending too much time on your hands.
Yeah.
At least I've never been on tour.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But from what I see and what the problems that they present, a lot of it is endurance based and mobility based from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to how can I make my moves look bigger? Right. And balance and spins. So that's kind of those are some differences of immediate things that I would think about.
Yeah, breaking would be more strength heavy.
Correct.
Yeah. Tour dancing and whatnot would be more endurance.
Correct.
Yeah, and mobility. Okay. And definitely B-boys obviously have a lot of mobility.
They both have they both have elements of that, but it's at what percentage.
Exactly.
It's like that creative player.
Yes.
Going back to that creative player. What are the qualities needed most?
Right. That makes sense. You must have a lot of fun.
I do. It's fun, bro. I don't know if you can tell, but I'll be talking. I'm fucking talking about this shit. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. Like everybody comes to me with like a different thing that it's like, oh, okay, well, if I move this around, this probably would, this might work. I don't know. We're going to see.
Right.
You know?
You're like a scientist. You just get to experiment,
and play. It's a lot of
try
experiment. It's play. Yeah, man. I love it, man. I love it.
So what do you think is the future of training or this lane? Like I said in the beginning, you're kind of like creating this new lane for dancers or people who are interested in dance and maybe don't want to go that route fully, but maybe they are interested in training and developing personal training for dancers. And I was even thinking about like imagining like some young dancer, trainer, person who's into fitness, like watching this and learning the route, like what it takes to go this way, So what do you think is the future of this style of training and this lane of training?
I have no idea, you know?
Right. This just happened in 2021.
You know, man, like I can definitely feel that it's new, but I can also feel that the ceiling is like so high on this, because if you just think about how many people dance in the world, it's like a shit ton, you know? Can we even put a number on that? You know what I mean?
It's just such a part of human experience.
And I think the amount of passion and love that is around dance is enough to fuel people's want to be better at it.
Yes.
With that said, people are actively seeking ways to become better at dance, in my experience.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And they're going to be nonstop.
Yeah.
And as it grows, more information will come out, more podcasts will happen, more science, more research will be done. And the fact that it's getting more mainstream activity, like the Olympics, like
even from a fitness standpoint, it's becoming a bigger thing.
Yes. Like Nike signed like freaking breakers, you know, like who's to say these other brands won't hop on board and do the same thing?
It's happening.
Choreography is kind of coming back. It is back.
Yeah.
Right. In music artists, like they're using choreography, a lot of so dance is kind of everywhere, more so than it has been before, I feel.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it
was there.
It was there.
But as far as like, I'm seeing more
from a commercial
dancing.
Exactly.
Like, and going for
that's what I'm saying.
Know, we got Tyla's and Normani's.
Exactly.
You know, it's more of that happening.
Yes. So going back to the question of what is the future of it, I think the future is going to be very bright, I think, for dance fitness, dance health, dance wellness in general.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of other companies and occupations and facilities that are catered to this.
For sure.
And just because of how much dance has grown in the past 10 years alone.
Yes.
Right? So who's to say 10 years from now where it'll all be?
Yeah.
And also input the increased accessibility of things.
True.
like social media, like apps like Steezy, like CLI Studios, like these apps are like pushing dance out.
Yeah.
Like Playground has its own TV show on Hulu. Like it's everywhere.
Right.
It's everywhere, you know? And so I can only really foresee that dance health, dance strength training, dance, everything wellness is a field that will only get bigger and bigger and bigger. So
agreed.
Yeah.
I see that. And I do like a lot of research and read a lot of articles and see what's going on in the world. And it's just growing and scaling in every kind of way. I heard it even like recently surpassed like skateboarding as far as like hobby, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Teens and whatnot in America. So yeah, I see the same future that you see. Here's a question. What if you could open up another movement society anywhere? Say if it wasn't California. Say if it wasn't California at all.
California.
Where else would you go? What would be a dream spot to open it up?
Okay. So I recently found this out actually when I went to Poland.
Yeah.
For Fair Play. European countries, I don't know if it's like this for other countries as well, but from what I found out, some European countries, the governments have an allocated budget to support the performing arts.
Yes.
Because of its positive impact on the youth, the culture, how it keeps people out of trouble. Like fucking duh. Yeah. Right? Like duh.
Right.
Like why are we not doing this out here?
Right.
And I think, you know, before this past week, my answer I think would have been New York.
Okay.
Because of there's a heavy dance culture there, but also the Broadway scene.
Yeah, musical theater.
The musical theater is a whole ass other.
They would be into that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that would be my answer before, but I don't know. Like after hearing that, like, can you imagine just getting government support for your own business like that?
Be beautiful.
What a concept, right? What a concept.
Paris, London, one of those, or
I think off top, without thinking about it too much, either London or somewhere in the Netherlands.
Yes.
Because I think musically speaking, London and art, music and art, London seems to be very on it. Absolutely. Or like they are very, they just know.
Yeah. It's like LA of Europe.
Right. Yeah. But the Netherlands, the reason why I say the Netherlands is because like I'm noticing some of the most talented people coming out of the Netherlands specifically. Insane. Like in breaking, Lee the Ruggeds, that dude, India, the girl, Shay.
Yep,
Shay and Kenzo.
Lola Becker.
Yeah, dude, like
Kenzo,
there's I don't know what they're drinking out there, but something is going on there.
I don't know. Maybe they all smoking weed.
Whatever.
Weed
dude.
is legal.
I'm in. Whatever, dude. I don't care.
Something. Something is happening for sure.
So this is like wild dream, but I think that would be cool. Yeah.
I could see it. I could see it. And me and you we have a bit of an announcement. Mm-hmm. We're going to do our first collaboration.
Yep.
So we're creating a program called World Tour Ready to prepare aspiring professional dancers or even professional dancers to prepare their bodies for the realities of tour. Mm-hmm. So for you, what is the transformation that they can expect to see for those that sign up and do this program with us? What's the transformation? This is going to be a 30-day program. What's the transformation they can expect to see at the end of it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the whole purpose of this program is to really help prepare the dancers and artists, athletes who really want to eventually go on tour and get hired by artists and individuals, not only because of your talent, but also your physical capabilities.
Yes.
So it's a program that will be dedicated to giving you the physical tools to be able to perform at a level where you don't have to be bogged down by the thought of, can my body keep up?
Exactly.
So it's really a program that will be designed to help develop your strength, your endurance, your mobility, and give you the warm-up tools and also the knowledge and know-how if something goes wrong, knock on wood, if something goes wrong, to be able to learn how to navigate it. So it's to really prepare you on a physical perspective for the complex demands that people and artists and other dancers have experienced on tour.
Yes.
So that you don't have to think about or worry about, can my body handle this? Because this program will provide those tools for you. So all you have to worry about is the dancing.
Yes.
You just dance.
And that simplifies so much for you. It makes it so much easier.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? So I'm excited for that.
I'm
this
hyped.
Is like a
it's
really fun thing.
Yes.
I'm just like a fan of you and your work.
Thank you,
and
man.
What you've created.
You too.
So
dude,
being able to do
things,
this,
man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. I think we align a lot on different things. I'm just more of just straight dance, and you're the other part of it that's so necessary with the strengthening conditioning part. So these two married together, I think, is going to be incredible. This is a real transformation that's going to happen for anybody that signs up. So make sure we'll have a link somewhere. We'll put a link in a bio somewhere.
It'll be up.
It'll be up somewhere.
Right.
But man, thank you so much for coming through.
Of course, man. Of course.
And we got more to do. I know this is just the beginning. This is the beginning of us connecting and collaborating. Definitely in the next episode, we'll talk about the business side of things.
Yeah, that's a deep one.
Let's dig deep into that.
Okay.
But that was Karl Flores from Movement Society, everybody.
Peace. Thank you
guys.
Out.